And now we are very happy to welcome the Reverend Elizabeth Hess Stamper with us. We're going to talk about listening as an act of love. Reverend Stamper, thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. So, listening as an act of love. So we listen for a lot of different reasons, right? We listen to learn things, to satisfy our curiosity, to get to know other people. And sometimes we can listen as a conscious act of love. When I listen to my son's music, it's a conscious act of love for me. When I listen to like a podcast, I'm listening about how I can become a better partner or a better friend, a better person, a better healer, a better citizen of the world. Then it's a conscious act of love, both for me and for everyone else, for others. And love is the key here, right? Because any act of love is connecting us to the most powerful healing instrument that there is. Love is what has the power to affirm us, encourage us, uplift us, inspire us, heal us. Love has the power to resolve conflict. And Lord knows we need that power right now. Love beyond reason, much more powerful than the power of reason or the power of force, is what can resolve conflict both within ourselves, that internal conflict, and between us and our loved ones, and also on a grander scale. And don't we need that in our world today? We need to believe in this power of love. We need to believe in this power of love. So I'm going to start with a story about where listening is demonstrated as both an act of love and a very powerful healing agent. There is a hospital in Oregon State Hospital, actually. And it houses over 1,000 people. And it's a mental hospital. And it's had a really, really scary reputation for many years. In fact, that book, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was based on this hospital. And the movie was filmed there. And some of the staff participated as extras in the movie. So, and this, they housed a lot of very ill and sometimes often violent patients. And they were using that system of reward and punishment to try to manage, keep everybody safe and keep order. And it didn't work very well. I think my husband, who's been a chaplain in prison for years, kind of knows that reward and punishment is not really a very loving way to interact with people, and it doesn't really work. People don't heal. So they agreed to have a group of people come in and do a training for them. It was led by Dr. Stuart Ablon, and his process is called, I see I'm moving out of camera range here. His process is called Collaborative Problem Solving, or CPS. So they went in and they trained all the staff in this process. And the idea was that if you can engage another person who's triggered, who's upset, who's acting out, and if you can stay calm, if you can stay centered, and you can meet them, not like from an up, I'm higher than you, more powerful, so you better do what I say, but meet them in that kind of way where I recognize you as my equal in self-worth, in the worth of your being. There's no above or below here. So an example of this is there's an inmate, let's call him, not an inmate, sorry, a patient, let's call him Jim. And Jim is schizophrenic, and he has been avoiding his therapy. He's not going in to group therapy or any treatments, and he's stopped taking his meds. And he's really afraid to interact with anyone. So a nurse approaches him and says, Jim, I'm really concerned that you're not coming in to treatment. Can you share what's going on? And at first, he doesn't really, he just gives her these superficial answers, but she stays with him and gently reassuring him. And finally, he says to her, I'm afraid that people will read my thoughts. I think people can read my thoughts. And she said, oh my goodness, wow, that would be scary. That would be really scary, as she imagined, if everyone could know what she was thinking all the time. And she said, well, do you think that, and my concern, your concern is people will be reading your thoughts. My concern is that you can't use these services we have that will help you get better, feel better. Can we collaborate? I don't think she used the word in that moment, but I think she was implying, can we work together to come up with a solution? Together, can we do this? And he's agreeing and he's thinking, and he comes up with this idea. I think if I put tinfoil over my head, then it will block the radio waves that are my thoughts from going out, and people can't read my thoughts. And she's like, that might work, but I'm worried that people will be distracted by the tinfoil on your head. And he goes, well, I can wear a baseball cap over it. So that might work, let's try it. And so they did do that. He was able to wear the tinfoil and the baseball cap and come back to treatment and get the help that he needed. And it was so beautiful about this story for me as I was thinking about it. There's a whole book, it's called Changeable, and this is the first story in that book by Dr. Stuart Ablon. But what's so beautiful is that the way that she interacted with Jim was so respectful and so kind, and she was really listening to him without, I think of it as just getting her mind quiet and being really open to his worries and what was going on inside him. And if she had come at him in the old way of dealing with patients, well, she might have re-traumatized him. She might have re-traumatized him, because everyone who's depressed, anxious, schizophrenic, it's a result of trauma, and that's usually happened early in life. And so the way, when you think about the way that our society wants to treat people who are misbehaving is to punish them, then you can see why we're in the trouble that we're in as a culture, as a society, as a world. So, and you might think, well, that's kind of how obvious that he's crazy, people reading his mind, tinfoil over the head, but not really. I think that a lot of people, maybe everyone in this room, is a very sensitive person. And as a sensitive person, you pick up on other people's energy. You can read their facial expressions. You hear their tone of voice. You either feel safe or you don't, right? So imagine Jim as a little kid, and he's not feeling safe. He's not feeling safe or seen or supported to trust that he'll be taken care of. So that's that trauma that can happen. And not even when parents are being mean and angry or upset. It can happen just because every single human being from the get-go, from the moment out of the womb, we need to feel seen and supported and safe so that we can trust ourselves and love ourselves, and also then extend that love and that trust to other people. So I love this example too, because we can be in an argument with someone or a heated discussion, and we can be thinking, oh, that's great, what you're saying is so crazy, or it's like tinfoil's on your head. But it's not to that person. Or we could be trying to discount or soothe them by saying, you're overthinking this, or you're making a mountain out of a molehill, or you're too sensitive. But they're not. They're not. There are lots of parts in us waiting still to be heard in such a way that they feel affirmed, safe, and seen, and supported. So how do we listen to another person in order to offer give that gift? I think that really effective listening, the kind of listening that is an act of love, I think of it as very much like a meditation practice. And the three elements of a good meditation practice are focused awareness, focused attention, open awareness, and kind intention. So think about when you meditate, you focus your attention on something, maybe your breath, maybe a mantra, maybe a sound, like the sound of the ocean or the sound of a singing bowl. So focused attention. And your mind goes away from that attention, right? It travels, and then your job, if you're sitting to meditate, is, oh, I'm thinking again, let go of the thought, come back to my point of focus. So I'm listening to Tracy, and I am focused on what she's saying, and I start to think about what I want for dinner. Oh, let that go, and come back, just like I'm meditating. And then this open awareness. Open awareness, what does that mean, to have open awareness? To me, it means that you do this from a relaxed place. It's not a kind of rigid focus, like a beam of light, a flashlight beam or a spotlight. Think of it more as like a floodlight of attention, open awareness. So you're really present. You can almost think about you're taking a little step back, and you're inhabiting more of your whole being, and you're aware of the whole room, but your focus is very gently, lovingly with the person that you're talking to. Or if you're meditating, it's coming back to the breath and feeling that breath in your body. Let's all do that. Let's do that for a moment. Go ahead and close your eyes if you're comfortable that way. If not, just have your eyes softly open, looking down on the ground. Yeah, uncross your legs if that is also comfortable. And start to breathe a little bit more deeply than you might usually do. You might want to breathe in through your nose as if you were going deep into your core, deep into contact with yourself. And as you exhale, you can exhale out your mouth, just like a sigh. And breathing in, going deep, exhale, letting go. Breathing in, listen to the sound of your breath as you breathe in. Listen to the sound of your exhale. Take your next few breaths with the intention to sigh on the exhale in a more audible way so that you hear it. And I will say that when your ears and your body is hearing your own voice making that sound of a sigh, it's very soothing to your nervous system. It's very calming to your whole body. And it's a nice sound. It's a beautiful sound. Like, remember you just got home from work and you plump down on the couch and you just, So we're going to do that together a couple of times. Breathing in, exhale, Hear your sigh and everyone else's. Breathing in, See if you can make it a lot louder on this last one. Breathing in deeply. Relief, the sound of relief, the sound of peace and letting go. So imagine you just sitting with a friend and you're listening to them. And stay, you know how you feel connected to yourself a little bit more right now? You can open your eyes for a moment if you like, or you can stay with your eyes closed. So maybe some of you noticed that just those few moments together made you feel maybe a little bit calmer and maybe more grounded in yourself or connected to yourself. Did anyone feel that? Anyone feel just a little more centered? So staying in that place where you're connected to you, notice how you can stay there. You're in your heart space and you can still hear me. You don't have to lose your connection to you, to your core, to your wisdom, to your love and compassion in order to pay attention to someone else. We may think that we do. We may have had that modeled for us. But no, the best listening you can give someone else is when you are most deeply connected to your own inner being. Does that make sense? Yeah. So in that last part of the 3 parts of what makes a good meditation, what makes for good listening, the first one, again, focused attention, open awareness, kind intention, kind intention. There are going to be a lot of times in our lives where someone really wants us to listen to them. Someone needs to be heard. And we might not be in that place that's what we want to do right now. And so it's going to take a moment for us to pivot from our concentration, our absorption, and what's next on my to-do list, to like drop back down inside, take a few deep breaths. This is where your kind intention is so obvious. It's your kindness. You might not feel it, but your intention to be kind to that other person, to be the listener for a few moments to that person, that will help you shift into your heart space, and you can offer that beautiful, compassionate space. Kind of going back to the Oregon State Hospital, I want to say that they did this program, they did the trainings, and they were compiling the results after a year of this. The number of restraining the patient, secluding the patient, those statistics have gone back 40%, dropped 40%. The number of violent aggressions between clients had gone down like another 50% or so. And then in one unit, the number of violent acts had decreased by 70%. So I want you to just imagine if more and more of us were just here, taking that moment, get centered, come from our heart, deeply listen to others, and to ourselves when we need it, and how that might, as it spreads, which I believe it will, around the globe, around the world, how that can decrease the acts of violence and aggression in our world. You know, after 9/11 happened, which was such a huge shock for our country, right? We were the ones that were safe. We were the strongest. We were the USA. And 9/11 happened, and I remember feeling very strongly that any act such as that violent act of aggression, that's anger. That's anger acting out. And underneath anger is fear. And if I can address my fear and take care of my fears, insecurities, I can live more in trust, then I won't get angry. And if I do get angry, if I can let that go as quickly as possible. But if I can't, then my little spark of anger is like adding to the collective fire in the collective consciousness of humanity that sparks war and all of those acts of aggression. So let's take care of our own little sparks. Let's put them out with kindness and awareness, meditation, and listening from your heart. I have one more thing to share with you. This was written after a session with a client and years ago, but she gave me permission to share this. What matters in the universe? She is lying on the mat and you're sitting beside her. You're breathing together. You're just breathing and holding hands. Are you going to let go? She asks. No, you say, I won't let go. Her grip on your hand tightens and loosens. I keep thinking that you're going to let go. I'll hold on, you say, as long as you want me to. I won't let go. She is there, being herself, being 27 and 10, and also very little, and then she's 8, and then again, so small. She touches all the ages who have carried that moment crystallized when someone who needed to hold her didn't. The children don't speak. They don't look up for a long, long time. They just hold on, tightening, loosening, tightening, loosening. Her hand gets to choose. You inhabit your own hand. You inhabit your own hand, and you stay quiet and open, listening, just listening, and grateful to know that what matters in the universe is this. Are you going to let go? You won't let go? No, my dear, I won't. Thank you.